right, so at 12:51, I'm going to call us back to order. And we are going to pick up where we left off at E7, the Y2Y Ad Hoc Committee conclusion. Trustee Long will discuss the conclusion of the Eastern Slopes Southern Alberta Y2Y Advisory. And the recommendation coming forward is, as the Eastern Slope Southern Alberta Y2Y Advisory Committee has concluded, the Board of Trustees approved that the Y2Y Ad Hoc Committee be ended. This is being moved by Trustee Long, and I will turn it over to him to speak to.
Yes, perhaps I shouldn't have used the word concluded. I sat on a Y2Y government advisory panel for the Eastern Slopes of Alberta, which included quite a few of the communities of the Livingstone Range School Division, all the way from Nanton to Crowsnest Pass. 3 weeks ago, the Y2Y advisory panel gave a presentation to the Crowsnest Pass Municipal Council. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make that meeting. It was our same night as our tri-school parent council, and it was the last parent council of the year. I did not want to miss it. So I can't give a final report on the presentation. However, I will make sure I get the information on what the report was, either just given to me orally and I write it down, or a formal copy sent to me, but I will have something to present to the board. But now that they have made their presentation to the municipal council in the Crowsnest Pass, I don't see that myself sitting on there is, the board is not going to get their money's worth financially. I do not know if they're going to make presentations in any of the other communities at this point, because I don't have the final report. But I don't see any importance now, really, for myself beyond that advisory committee, and not just because they've given the report in the Crowsnest Pass. I'm from Crowsnest Pass, but that I don't see that I have much to add to that advisory panel in the future. So I think we should conclude that ad hoc committee.
Thank you so much, Trustee Long, for that update, and we look forward to that final report. Is there any trustees who have any questions or comments? Okay. Then, as a board, we just want to thank you for the time that you spent on this committee and the reports that you have brought back to us. And we will vote on the recommendation that, as the Eastern Slopes Southwestern Alberta Y2Y Advisory Committee has concluded, the Board of Trustees approve that the Y2Y Ad Hoc Committee be ended. Should we add effective today? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
ended
please.
As of June 21st. Is it really? 2022. Okay. This has been made by Trustee Long. All in favor? That is passed. Okay. Perfect. We will move on to E8, Board Policy 8, Board Operations. In response to the April 26th, 2022 Board Motion number 21-179, stating, Trustee Hodges moved that the Board of Trustees direct the Audit Committee to recommend a limit on tipping and consider implementing limits on hotels in order to be fiscally responsible. Any recommendation by the Audit Committee would be presented to the Board at a future Board meeting, along with a recommendation to direct the Policy Committee to make the appropriate changes to Board Policy 8 before September 1st, 2022. The Policy Committee has met, and Trustee Yagos, Policy Committee Chair, will review the draft Board Policy 8 and Board Operations with the Board of Trustees. The recommendation is that the Board accepts Board Policy 8 Board Operations as presented. This is being moved by Trustee Yagos, and I will turn it to her to, I beg your pardon?
So Sorry, it just should say presented or amended, because in case there's any amendments that need to be made while presenting.
Okay. We'll turn it over to Trustee Yagos to speak to, and we'll just give Nikki a moment to pull it up. She's already there. Go ahead, Trustee Yagos.
Thank you. Would you please go down to board member honorarium and benefit expenses? I think we went and changed more than we were asked to do, but I'm going to assume anything in red here on this is things that we change. Okay, thank you. So we are on per diem honorarium remuneration. Excuse me. One of the meeting would be meetings of the committees of the board as per policy 9. Yep. And I'm just going to go through all of these. If anybody's got any questions, Trustee Hodges will notice them and then tell me. On E, we put it to as per Zone 6 general meetings. And once again, I will just leave it at that because there's no changes to this point. I think I see Trustee Toon. Did you have your hand up?
Yeah, thank you. Not with that item further down to G. I appreciate the intent of what this says, but in reading it, you could say that
Point of order? Okay.
that assigned trustees will be compensated for any special event, where we only do it for graduation. So if we took that statement and moved it in brackets behind graduations and said, but only trustees assigned to this to graduations will be compensated, and then and other events, because you're welcome to attend other events, but we don't compensate trustees for, like I attended the fire academy last night graduation, and that wasn't an assigned thing, but it was run out of my school. So out of my school assignment, I could interpret that as saying that doesn't come out of honorarium, that's a per diem, but I know that that's not the case.
Okay, Mr. Perry?
Some of these red items are already changed.
Okay, I'm sorry. Were some of these items put in special?
So, Clara, there's multiple different policies. This is the latest one that we could find that had been adjusted. Do you have the latest copy that you made the changes to?
This was the latest copy we made the changes to.
There were.
Sorry, one sec. Go ahead, Trustee Stankiewicz, or Trustee Gimber.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, I pulled up the policy that is on the website, and there are half of these changes are already on the website copy. And I also was under the understanding that policy was to bring these changes to a meeting of the whole for us to go over, and then we approve it in a board meeting. This is the first time I've seen any of these changes.
Thank you, Trustee Gimber. Go ahead, Trustee Stankiewicz.
Yeah, these changes have been made on the previous copy, and the working copy has not been updated since those changes were made. So we just continued on with this working copy and made additional changes.
Okay, thank you. And as far as the understanding goes, my personal understanding is that we are not reviewing the entire policy, but that we are just supposed to be reviewing the changes made in response to the April 26, 2022 board motion, where Trustee Hodges moved that the Board of Trustees directed the Audit Committee to recommend a limit on tipping and to consider implementing limits on hotels in order to be fiscally responsible. Any recommendation by the Audit Committee would be presented to the board at a future board meeting, along with recommendations to direct Policy Committee to make the appropriate changes to Board Policy 8 before September 1st. So my understanding is that we should be discussing that. Sorry.
Just, can I I apologize for this. I was looking at some of the red ones, but it does, if you go on to 6.2 and 6.4, and that's a reimbursement for personal expenses, that's what we changed, which is what was asked for.
Okay,
So I
thank you.
apologize.
Trustee Toon and then Trustee Long.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just in light of the discussion that's taken place, the challenges of having some stuff in red and other stuff that's already been initiated, and getting the, in respect of getting the information prior to making the decision, I would move to postpone the question until our September meeting.
Okay, there's a move to postpone the question until our September meeting. We can debate whether we want to do this or not, and we will have to vote on whether we agree with postponing. Go ahead, Trustee Long.
We already did this. May 17th, Audit Committee needs remuneration recommendations presented and approved at board meeting September 2022. So we had already discussed that prior to September they would be presented, and at the board meeting in September 2022 they would be approved.
Sorry, Trustee Long, that's the Audit Committee, and this is the Policy Committee.
Oh, so this is different.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead, Trustee Gimber.
So in the preamble, it says, and in response to the April 26, 2022 board motion, it does say right in the middle, any recommendation by the audit committee would be presented to the board at a future meeting along with a recommendation to direct policy committee to make the appropriate changes. This is all part of the presentation that is forthcoming to the board with all of these pieces in it. So this is very premature.
Okay, thank you. We are just talking about whether we feel this should be postponed or not. Go ahead, Trustee Hodges. Okay. Any further conversation on postponing that the board accepts Board Policy 8 as presented or amended? Go ahead, Trustee Yagos.
I was just going to say, I was under the impression that they wanted us to change what was going on with the what did they have here? The hotels and tipping, etc. So that's what we did at our last policy meeting. So Trustee Hodges is shaking her head, so I am going to let her respond to that.
Sorry, we're just talking to postponing it or not. So if we feel like it's appropriate to postpone it, or we feel like we need to, there's a motion on the floor from Trustee Toon to postpone this until the September meeting. Is there any thoughts around postponing it or dealing with it today? We've heard from Trustee Gimber and Trustee Toon. Go ahead, Trustee Yagos.
Okay, if it's postponed, then I have no problem with that. I just think we need to have specific instructions what is wanted at the Policy Review Committee.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Stangowitz.
In light of the audit committee's report, I also support postponing.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and vote. The motion on the floor right now is Trustee Toon move to postpone item E8 until the September 2022, sorry, Trustee Toon, board meeting or meeting of the whole?
I would say board meeting.
Thank you. Just want to make sure we've got the wording correctly here. Okay, so that's the motion that we're voting on. If you vote in favor, you are in favor of postponing this until the September meeting. If you vote against, then we will continue discussing today. Okay. All in favor of postponing? Okay, that is passed. Thank you. We will now move on to, oh, sorry, go ahead, Trustee Hodges.
Just a point of information for everyone, I think where some of the confusion came in at our April 12th meeting. We went through this Policy 8, and a lot of conversation happened around trustees, and we made notes of what they wanted to see changed. So we then, at our policy meeting, made those changes in conjunction with this, knowing that audit was still going to be presenting. So the changes that we made at policy 8 came out of a meeting of the whole that the whole board discussed. And so it was a lot of just some housekeeping, some cleaning up. So in lieu of postponing this, we will then bring all those changes that policy made along with the audit presentation that we're going to be presenting. So that's where what Clara trustee, I guess, was presenting today was what came out of the conversation at our meeting of the whole.
Thank you for that clarity. We'll now move on to E9, locally developed courses, yearly approval. Okay. Sorry.
I believe Nikki's pulling it up right now, so.
Yeah, sorry, Nikki's bringing it up. This was added, if you're looking at your agenda and wondering where it is, this was added as an emergent item. Associate Superintendent Kuzak requests approval from the board for the attached acquired or developed locally developed courses for implementation in the 2022-2025 school year. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the included list of locally developed courses for Alberta education for the 2022 to 2025 school years, and this motion is being made by Trustee Toon. Trustee Toon, would you like to speak to that?
Sure, thank you. So the administration placed on our desks the list that we were currently approving and added this as an emergent item. As spoken about earlier, this division does an amazing job of finding unique programming throughout the province, and as well as developing some of our own that you can see on the list. Typically, this was something that we had delegated to our superintendent for approval, but because of current provincial bureaucracy, we are facing this approval today. I just want to thank our administration for the amazing job that they do complementing our education of our students with this great, vibrant programming. They do so much to help our kids, and just turn it over to them if they have any other comments.
No, thank you for that, and I appreciate that. And as you can see, most of these courses are fully being used right now. So thank you for that consideration.
Okay. I'll give everyone a minute to just look over these. I know we got them first thing this morning and it's been a busy day. Then we'll open it up. If anyone has any questions or concerns about the reason we're approving these now, or the change in process with the government, then we can ask those now. Around the approval of the list. Go ahead, Trustee Yagos.
The abnormal psychology 35, this is a locally developed course. Is this something that they've taken from the, what used to be the LR, what was that, Pembina Hills, and revised it or use it now? Or I don't understand why it's called a locally developed course, because I know they did have one.
Yeah, they developed, I think it was locally developed with ADLC as well too. And my understanding was that, and that we were getting access. Now ADLC is no longer.
Yeah.
So some schools still want to use that course. So that's why we request access to it.
Thank you, Mr. Kuzak. These are attached as the acquired and developed locally courses. So trust Mr. Seguin.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. The term locally developed courses could be confusing. You might be under the impression that Livingstone Range School Division developed all these courses that got approved by Alberta Education, when in fact there may be some that we've created, like their FACES program, right? Those are locally developed courses that we've created within the division that we get approval from Alberta Education to use as locally developed courses. However, much like our courses for the FACES program, other school divisions also develop locally developed courses. Once they're approved by Alberta Education, any school division in the province can access them. And so abnormal psychology, for example, wasn't developed by us. Another school division did, and we've requested access to use that locally developed course. So hopefully that provides the clarity.
Thank you for that, Mr. Seguin. Are there any other questions around the change in process, why we need to approve this? Okay, my question was, we're approving it for the following 3 years, but our list says 2022 to 2023. If we're approving the list for 3 years, will we approve it again if more are added to it, or is just one of the numbers off?
No, just the ones that expire. This is for all of them, because they're moving the systems to online. They needed to approve all of these at once, and then once approved, once they expire, we'd have to request access and get permission for the board to approve us using those courses.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that clarity. I'm seeing no other questions or comments at this time. Oh, go ahead, Trustee Long.
Does that, Mr. Cusick, also include courses you might want to add?
That is correct. If there's a course that we wish to add, we would bring it to the board. And so we get three years after it's approved before it expires.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm seeing no other questions or comments at this time. With that, I will read the motion again. The recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the included list of the locally developed courses for Alberta education for the 2022 to 2025 school years, moved by Trustee Toon. All those in favor? That is passed. Thank you very much. Okay, and Trustee Toon had requested in the flourish of this morning that we did not pull out the PD, and he would like to, if no one has any objections to pulling out professional learning from the consent agenda and adding it at this time, although that's out of order, as action item E10. Is there any concerns with that? Okay. Then, Trustee Toon, I will let you speak to that at this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize for not doing it this morning. I know that I will be seeking approval to attend CSBA, and we have multiple trustees going to attend the online ASBA governance certification program, and they've recently announced that that'll be billed in separate years to help alleviate the cost on PD budgets. So I think it's going to be, I don't know when the split is going to happen, but you could spread it over multiple, or I think make a request to defer the payment till into the fall. So I would just encourage any trustees that are contemplating making that online request. The space is filling up in the cohort, so I would seek approval, ask you guys to seek approval today on that if you're at all interested in that.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. Trustee Yagos?
I'm just going to ask Trustee Toon, because when I went on to the ASBA site, I do know there is a diploma or certificate or something you could get for it, but there's also a course on governance that they will offer in the fall, and I registered for that, and it doesn't cost anything, and that's from the University of Calgary. Now, I am a little confused I know you go for the certificate, so what exactly are you talking about, Trustee Toon?
Thank you, Trustee Yagos. Go ahead, Trustee Toon.
Yeah, there is no free governance. That is what the ASBA, it's offered through the University of Calgary. So I know it said there was no cost to it, but that's not true, that there is the cost to that, and it starts in the fall and goes through next year. So that's why for trustees and budgeting purposes, I think, I don't know exactly when the split is going to be, but it would be for, I believe, next year. And they're going to split that up into multiple payments, hopefully, so it could go over multiple budgets. But yeah, I would encourage anybody that's interested in doing it, seek approval, and then you can, if you find that you can't take it, you could cancel your registration on that once we get the full details, because we don't have another meeting till after the date's going to close.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. So just for clarity, he is speaking about the certificate here. Go
So
ahead.
can I just ask then, as a follow-up, is that I got a receipt and everything from the University of Calgary because I'm already registered with the university because I went there. So is that meaningless?
Do you have the name of what you registered for?
Yeah, the governance course. I could bring it up and, yeah.
Okay, Trustee Toon.
Yeah, there is no bill because it's not coming from them. It's going to be billed like everything we take through ASBA. It's going to be billed directly to the board.
Okay.
So that's why it says you don't owe anything to the University of Calgary. The ASBA is going to charge us, and then it will go to the university, the portion of that. So yeah, you're not correct, not incorrect in saying that you didn't get a bill from them, but to complete the course, you have to pay for that one.
Okay, thank you. And I was just looking on the website to see where you see it, and is Fundamentals of Governance is the course, and that is the first course of the 8 courses. So yeah, you probably did register for the whole certificate. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, Trustee Gimber.
On Trustee Toon's advice, I would like to seek approval to attend. And I don't know if the payments are going to be split up or whatever the case is, but I would like to put my name down on that. I have registered for it already. Please.
For the ASBA Online Governance Certificated Program.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Go ahead, Trustee Hodges.
I just have a question around that governance certificate program. So registering it is one cost, and are you also seeking the time to do the certification too, like through your personal PD? Are we approving just the cost, or are we approving the hours to do it too?
Thank you, Trustee Hodges. Trustee Toon?
I know I can just speak to me personally. It would just be the cost of registration because it is a larger initiative. But if I don't know, there is going to be 2 in-person meetings, so there could be some potential costs to that. So I don't want to say just registration, but just for clarity, yeah, there's no way within the budget you can, any of us, if we started with a fresh budget, you couldn't say you're going to pay for registration and per diems with this. There just isn't enough money in any budget to do that.
Thank you. Trustee Gimber, did you want to speak to that? Okay. Trustee Long? Okay. Trustee Stengowitz?
I would also like to request approval from the board to attend the ASBA Governance Certificate, the School Board Trustee Governance Program by ASBA through University of Calgary.
Thank you, Trustee Stengowitz. Trustee Yagos?
Well, as I already registered because I thought I'd be taking it, but is there, obviously, they haven't really set out a lot of the rules through the ASBA, because I was wondering, is there any time that you could drop out of this? Or do you have to take so many courses, or you can just take, like, for example, that Fundamentals of Governance is really, it sounds really great. So
sorry, did you want to answer that, Trustee Toon?
Yeah, so this is a pilot program, so going through it the first time, it might be offered in a semester system or a piecemeal, but coming from the University of Calgary, the ASBA only facilitates the first module, and then the rest are all already existing courses through the University of Calgary that are offered at a highly discounted rate of what we normally pay to take a university course. So it's an all or nothing. There is no, you can't take some of it and not take others. So when you commit to it, you need to keep that in mind, that you're committing to the whole entire thing. And I apologize, Trustee Yegas, there was some more discussion when we were in Red Deer, questions after it was presented, because it was just unrolled and unveiled up there. So you might not have heard some of that discussion that took place on there, being attending virtually.
Go ahead, Trustee Yegas.
Oh, I was just going to say then, I'd like to request permission to enroll in it.
Thank you. Go ahead, Trustee Hodges.
I would also like permission to enroll in it. I didn't realize that we could do it this way, so I would like to, if there's still room, possibly enroll.
Thank you. Any other conversation around this? Go ahead, Trustee Toon.
Yeah, Nikki, if you could add my name to that line as well I'd also ask for permission to attend the online governance training program.
Go ahead, Trustee Yegas.
Thank you. And I'm just going to ask Trustee Toon if he knows, as I've already registered, do I have to do anything more? Or do I just assume that this is it?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of, but we're going to be having some meetings here in the next week or so I can inquire and find out if there's anything else required or not.
And you'll send us out the information because, yeah, right now it's pretty, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think they were waiting to see about what the cohort would look like for this first thing, and being a pilot, it's a little more up in the air, so.
Okay, perfect. Trustee Toon, just a question for myself. What is included in the costs for CSBA and where it will be held this year?
So CSBA is held in Saskatoon, and I was with Alberta announcing they're hosting the next year's CSBA. I was asked to be part of the task force ad hoc committee for hosting that as well, because I was on it previously. So I'll be attending. If the board doesn't approve, I would still be attending the national trustee gathering just to seek information on that. So it would be similar to any other conference. I think it's a $700 fee for conference fee, and then a couple nights. So it's in line with anything else that we've attended.
Okay, thank you. I would also ask to have my name put on for the school governance certificate with a request that Nikki let us know before. Will they process it through the school like they do with other ASBA things, in case we want to just pay for it separately so that we still have our PD dollars for other things? I'll reach out to you, never mind. Ignore that special direction there. Okay, is there any other, what? Is there any other PD approval to come forward at this time? Okay, go ahead, Trustee Gimber.
I just have a question with regards to Trustee Toon's CSBA request. He mentioned that somebody had requested that you attend it so that you could see about how it runs for when Alberta's hosting it. Could you just tell me who it was that requested that you attend that, and if they're covering any of your costs?
Yeah, it wasn't a formal request. It was just a discussion, because we haven't even had an official meeting for the ad hoc committee, because it's kind of a quick decision made, but it's through ASBA. It's the committee that I previously sat on. And then when it was COVID happened, like everyone's aware, that was bumped for Alberta hosting this. But typically, if there's anything like that, the board of directors would cover the cost. So that has happened a few times. Like we don't get charged for registration when I work the SGM and FGM, like the PD. We pay for the PD portion, but not the registration fee, because they count that I help facilitate those events. So it's a nice bonus for cost savings to the board. So I appreciate them doing that, because I know in the past it wasn't something they always did.
Thank you. Is that good? Okay. Any other PD requests at this time? Okay. So, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the following professional learning: CSBA National Trustee Gathering, July 6th to 8th, 2022, for Trustee Toon to attend, and also the online ASBA School Board Trustee Governance Certificate Program, or Certificated Program, for Trustees Gimber, Stangwitz, Yegos, Hodges, Toon, and Poitras. All those in favor of approving these as presented? Okay, that is passed or carried. Okay, thank you. Okay, we will do our 3 key messages.
Point of order, Madam Chair. There should be an E11. I asked for Mr. Kuzik's report to be pulled.
I actually put that as F3 as a discussion item, and then I just missed it here. Thank you so much. Are you comfortable with it being a discussion item as there's no motion attached to it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, before we move on to RG, we'll finish with F3, which is, we had the Associate Superintendent Chad Kuzik's report pulled by Trustee Gimber for discussion, and I will turn it over to Trustee Gimber at this time to speak to.
My question, keep going, please. Okay, right there. Learning disruption final report. I'm just wondering if you could give me a little bit more detail on what is in the report that you submit to the province and how they use the information that's in that report.
Yes, it'd be my pleasure. As you can see on June 15th, we submitted that report. I haven't done any detail analysis on that piece right now. It's forthcoming over the summer, and any of those, that information particularly, we have to be cautious of due to COVID and those sorts of things to take it at its face value as of yet. It's our first time using it. But the general comments I would say is that inside that report, it included the number of students participating in the intervention program, the average score at the beginning and the end of the program, and then the grades 1 to 3 programming costs. Those are generally what was in there. And what the province does with that information, I would have to request that. I'm not sure. I know for us, as you saw Lisa today talk about how she uses that information for programming for students, it'll be used in a similar manner. So we'll follow that process from year to year. And with this one too, as we looked at that, the students, we could evaluate how our intervention program was going as well too, to see if the students improved or not improved over the year of intervention. So hope that answers some of your questions. So.
It does. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Sorry for skipping that item. Is there any other questions for Mr. Kuzak's Associate Superintendent around his report? Okay, perfect.
Just a comment, are the graphics okay? Are they helpful?
You know what? I loved them. It was
Okay.
It was fabulous.
I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, splitting it out like that, it was really good.
helpful.
I did like it.
Thank you for the feedback.
That's a win. Hero cookie. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. With that, I don't think we have any other secret items that I've forgotten or that haven't been added. We'll move on to G, our 3 key messages. Is there anyone who has anything? Anyone at all? Trustee Long?
Early learning presentation.
Thank you very much. Trustee Hodges?
Typically, we have both our presentations and our key messages, so if we just want to include both of those.
Okay. As 2 separate ones. Okay, is there any others that you'd like added? 2 key messages? Okay, go ahead, Trustee Long.
quarterly financial report.
Perfect, thank you very much. So for our key three messages, we have our early learning presentation, our off-campus RAP Green Cert programming presentation, as well as our quarterly financial report to be shared out. This will be going out in September to our meetings when we go to our schools. Is there anything else? Okay, perfect. So we will now move, we are so close to on schedule though, 11:05. Go ahead, Trustee Stankiewicz.
Will it be available in advance of?
Oh yeah, Nikki will get this out in the next couple
Thank you.
days, for sure. And it will also be, our messages are always posted on the website early as well, so. Okay, and so at 1:31, can I get a motion to go in camera? Trustee Hodges? Yeah, that was a misprint on the agenda, 11:05. That was, I don't know what happened there. Okay. I did start on time. Oh, no, I didn't. No. Okay, thank you. And we'd like to thank our public members who joined us today. Thank you for being here, and we'll move into camera.